Yo,
Hi.
what's going on?
Hi. What's up? What's up, man? You are such a busy man.
This is facts.
Peace, peace.
Hi. Hi. Who is that? I can't even see right now because I'm adding people. Okay, I'm waiting on everybody else to come on. Who we got? All right. We waiting on what? The other four people. Hi, welcome in. Y'all don't look. HeadKrack, look, got me some podcast stuff. Now I'm professional.
Oh, so you in the game. Like,
I'm
yeah,
in
like
the
hard
game.
body. You know what I'm saying? How you been?
I've been good. How you been?
Yo, it's the crazy season. You know what I'm saying? Everybody trying to cram everything in before the year wraps up. So, it's just nonstop grinding.
All right. Somebody in the comments said, "Hey, HeadKrack."
What up, classy DDP?
I'm waiting on the Wayne.
Shout out to Kendra Elijah Milton.
All right. I'm waiting on everybody else. They still have to accept the invite. So how y'all been? Y'all ready for Christmas? New Year's?
I'm gonna be about it.
Yeah, like it's a weird year. Like, it seems like, like yesterday it was Halloween and then you blink twice, then it's Thanksgiving, and next thing you know, you like everybody's like, what are your New Year's plans? Like I've been asked that twice today and I was like, oh snap, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that is what comes after Christmas. Like, man, I think a lot of people are in survival mode. You know what I'm saying? Like with everything that's going on, like just, economically, everything that's going on, like, with I think just with the energy of the world, man, like I think, things that mattered a lot more a few years ago, I don't know, it's taking a back seat to just present day issues for a lot of people, man. Everybody's going through their different levels of, stress and strife.
Yeah, I get that. What about you, TraMel?
This year been what it been, you know what I'm saying? But most everything is done for the most part. I just had a couple of little things to tighten up and we good.
Okay, okay. You Vigilante?
Yeah, I think that HeadKrack has a good point in what he was saying about, the different times and what things mean to different people. I also think that this is the most woke that our melanated demographic has been in a minute, and they're deciding whether or not they want to continue to celebrate Christmas and how their New Year's looks for them, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's a combination of it too.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And you, Jamil.
Yeah, I'm trying to get stationary, but to comment on what everybody been saying, I mean, yeah, it's crazy how the year has flown by, and it is like it was Halloween yesterday, and then now it's Christmas, but I haven't even really got any shopping done yet, so I'm trying to get all of that in before Christmas Eve, really. So yeah, it's been crazy.
Okay. Tiran.
What's going on, Miss Yama? How you doing this evening?
Hi, how you
What's
doing?
going on, Frank? What y'all doing? I'm good. I'm good. I'm blessed. I cannot complain. Great to be here this evening.
Great to have you. We're gonna start waiting on Terry. Terry, he really don't do social media, but he's coming out, and I think so official. I mean, ShowOut is ShowOut on here. Uh, I'm gonna send him the invite, and then I'm waiting on Terry. Then we're gonna go ahead and start. But I do want to say thank you guys for being able to. Okay, he said he clicked the link. Hold on. Try to send a request, Terry. Try to send a request. ShowOut, are you on here? He said both. So they both trying to click the link. Both of y'all try to send a request so y'all can join to see if it'll let you join like that.
Is there a maximum amount of people that could be like in a TikTok live situation at one time?
You feel slow. No, I've seen people. How about 15 people up there?
Oh, that's what's up. Like, this is the first time
I
I
didn't
seen this
look.
many
I don't
people in
look.
a live
Me
thing. I didn't know
too.
if you needed TikTok Plus or whatever to do this, but this is dope. They came up. I gotta be on here more.
Me too, because obviously we all learning this together.
ShowOut said, I feel slow.
Look to like, hey, I'm trying to figure out because I keep sending the links of them both. And the thing about it is just they said they are accepting. It says invitation sent, and then I'm seeing if Dwayne. Okay, Dwayne, there we go. Look,
Wow.
look at you. How do I send a request? Don't judge. We ain't judging you. That ain't what we do over here. That's not what we do over here. We are full of love. Don't do that. We don't do that. Hi, Terry.
Your friend
Hey,
can't
what's going
show
on,
out
y'all? How you
already.
doing?
So, are you ready for the? Are you ready for Christmas or New Year's?
I'm always ready for it.
Okay. All right. I'm waiting on ShowOut. ShowOut, can you send a request like Terry did? Who
Tell
is
them it's gonna
this?
be the two people down at the bottom of the screen next to the typing box.
Okay. Are you telling him that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What did Kendra say? She already started. Y'all, Kendra is she already no, she talking about sausage party. Y'all please. All right, she said he said our press request is not going. Let me try it again, y'all. One more time. Are you seeing the invite ShowOut? Because it has 2 extra blocks on the screen where it says invite. So it's telling me I could invite 2 more people, but it's not even allowing him to get one here. Is it because I wonder, is it because he just made his profile? Man, he said yes, and I found request, and it's still not letting me in. All right. Let's see. I do apologize. I do apologize about that show out because I really don't know why it's doing that to you. And then I don't even see the request box for me to even accept it, for me to accept you actually on here. If somebody drop off early, do you want to just join in then? Because he is one of the poly people. Okay. All right. We love you. Oh, we love you, show. You here in spirit. That's what Vigilante said. Wait, it's telling me to invite him. Let's see. All right. Terry, your camera upside down. Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna see if he said he's gonna log off and try to do it again, and we're gonna try to throughout the episode, we're gonna try to get him in the room. So, hey, you guys, how y'all doing tonight? This is your girl Kicking It with Yamahhhh, where we come together, a Southern hospitality show full of love, positivity, and we're just like family here. I have 7 different guests. The ShowOut is here in spirit while he get his stuff together because he don't really know how to work it either, but he's here. We're gonna represent him too. So I want everybody to give a round of applause for my 7 different guests here. I'm gonna give them the floor to introduce themselves individually. So y'all heard that clap? Okay. So so you guys go ahead. I want to give y'all the floor and let y'all introduce yourselves one by one. And who want to start first?
Okay, I'll dive in.
Okay.
Yo, I go by the name of HeadKrack. Radio, TV, media personality, business owner. As of August, man, I'm the owner of a gym in Buckhead called Pepper Box in Buckhead, where we focus on. It's not a fighting club; it's a boxing fitness, and having a strong mind. Also, you need a strong body as well. And we focus on just keeping people in shape, and also offering additional things that can make sure you have a great quality of life going into your later years, man. It's one thing to go to the gym and lift weights, but it's another thing to get that stretch and mobility going on, hand-eye coordination and things like that. So, we just build a community of people who try to make each other stronger through togetherness and showing up and being accountable. So that's what we on right now. And the thing that I always mention last, but I care about the absolute most, I'm also an artist. I just recently dropped a project called Microdose Plus back in September, and I got a new video that's dropping this Monday called Tunnel Vision. So be on the lookout for that.
All right. Anybody else want to go after HeadKrack?
I'll go ahead and
There
introduce
you
myself.
go.
My name is Tiran Jackson. I am a resiliency expert, an author, a professional speaker, and I help those going through trauma, tragedy, or transition make a transformation to be triumphant out in this world. Certified life coach, have a crazy backstory. 7 years ago, my wife and I, we were celebrating our 15th wedding anniversary, took a trip to the Bahamas, thought we were going to spend 5 days in paradise. On the third day, we got on a small boat to do an excursion, and 5 minutes into the ride, the boat exploded. I woke up face down on the surface of a burning boat. Long story short, I lost my wife that day. They had to amputate my left leg, and I was broken physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. I had to come through an amazing comeback, and in the midst of it, God spoke to me. He told me that I had a choice: either feel sorry for myself and struggle to survive, or choose to be resilient and learn to thrive. And with that, there was a shift in who I was. I overcame so much. I went from not thinking I'd ever be able to walk again, or running 5Ks, 10Ks with a prosthetic. I've been able to help people who have lost people and really have to struggle with grief, be able to rebuild their life and figure out how to use the pain and adversity that they go through in order to make it their purpose and strength. So now what I do is, like I said, I inspire, I motivate, and I give people hope that if I could bounce back from what I did and I'm out there doing big things in the world, there's no reason why they can't. And so helping people realize and focus that what we go through does not fully define us, but it's actually a catalyst to create positive growth in who we are, is what I go out there and do in the world today.
All right. But God, there in the comment section, but God. All right. Thank you, Jesus. All right. We're glad that you were able to recover from that, and you really are doing some great things. So proud of you for that, showing that strength that we thought, because I'll be still out there in the sand. I would. But Terry. Hey, brother. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
I'm Terry Borum, repair business owner. Right now I'm traveling, doing some steel work for big box home improvement stores. Like Yama said, I'm not too big on the social media tip, but we're gonna try to get it going.
All right. Okay, yeah, he's not. I had to beg him to get up here. All right, TraMel. Go ahead,
What's going
boy.
on with everybody? How y'all doing? My name is TraMel. I'm a licensed and practicing physical therapist. I've been so for over 20 years at this point. I'm also a singer-songwriter. Also own a music education company that focuses towards daycare centers, so toddler pre-K age. I do have a single that's coming out January 5th. It's called It's Your Birthday, and January 5th is my birthday. It's Capricorn season for all y'all out there. The best season on the earth is coming up right now. So yeah, I got that going on. So look for that on everything. So hey, that's it. Glad to be here.
All right. Okay. Look at you. It's your birthday. All right, JMeel. JMeel, you there? Okay.
Based here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm an R&B artist, live performing and recording artist. Happy to be here. Got music on all digital platforms. Follow me at JMeel Music, JMEELMUSIC.com.
Okay. All right. All right, Vigilante.
All right. I am Vigilante, the mogul philanthropist, humanitarian, the digital diplomat, and the extravagant Pan-African. I am in the process now of getting dual citizenship. I have it in America already, and I'm relocating in 2026 to Sierra Leone. And I'm showing everybody in the melanated diaspora how to move from anywhere in the diaspora to anywhere else in the diaspora to get themselves better economic opportunities. I also help small brands connect with the fan base and turn into big brands. I am the most interviewed man in the world, and also the most collaborated with UGC creator ever.
Nice.
All right, there we go. For ShowOut, he's a celebrity photographer. He will be able to expand that once he's able to join. So we're gonna go ahead. We still support you, and you can still come on ShowOut. But they're killing it in the comment sections already. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the questions. What is one thing men don't talk about enough when it comes to relationships? Y'all ain't even talking.
I'll go ahead and get started with this. I honestly think that a lot of us guys don't become emotionally connected as much. We don't share our real feelings enough. We might be on the passive side and wait for the female, for the woman to go ahead and express certain things before we start to open up. I found that a lot of brothers, we tend to, want to be careful, protect our heart a little bit more than women are. So I think in some ways that makes it a little bit harder for us to get that full connection with the lady that we're trying to be with. But
All right. Anybody else want to piggyback off of that?
What I will say, in not only conversations that I've had personally, but like people who I know are operating in that outside space, people want the truth until you give it to them. Everything is all good until the pistol is pointed in your direction, where like you're the problem, or you bring up something that that you're not rocking with that the other person is doing. And sometimes people do not take that level of criticism well. And that kind of goes both ways, but even more so sometimes in relationships. And then like when new hip slang terms come out and social media starts running with them, like, oh, you're a narcissist. Like, no, like I'm not a narcissist. I just stood up for myself. Or like, or I've reached a mile marker where there's certain things that I won't like tolerate anymore because sometimes we as men, we got to hold so much in and act like we're not bothered by things, or act like, we didn't want to react to something, but just keeping the peace just for going along and getting along. And I think, you want to have open and honest communication in any aspect of a relationship, whether it's a personal relationship, business relationship, or other. And, it just sometimes that person on the receiving end of that doesn't always receive it as well.
Okay. Anybody else want to talk on the topic of what relationship? Nobody else don't want to piggyback. All right, we're gonna go to the comment sections. If y'all got any questions or comments on that, then you feel free to drop them in. If y'all want to come on live and ask any of the men on the panel something, then y'all free to do that. Keep it respectful, y'all. That's all I ask. So we're gonna go ahead
and tap in a little bit more off of what HeadKrack said a little bit.
Okay, go
Just
ahead.
one other thing that I think, especially with us brothers, that we feel like that we have to deal with. There is already a level of trauma that we as a people as a whole, but Black men already feel the responsibility to provide for everybody, especially when you're doing big things or you're doing something. You got everybody depending on you. A lot of times in my past, I've been the giver, the provider, the person that people come to when they have issues, challenges, and problems. So what that does is that creates this stigma where I've got to be solid for everybody else, but I don't know necessarily how to open up for the help and for the openness with that relationship. Those micro traumas that we deal with make it a little bit harder, I think, at times for us to be able to open up. And that's just one of the things that I think as Black men, we have to become a little more verbal and more open about if we want to be able to get that full unconditional love and relationships that we may be seeking, but scared to go out there and truly state.
Okay. All right. All right. My next question is: do men love differently or just quietly?
As far as my perspective on it, I'm not sure if I would say men and women love differently, because I think that's an individual thing. We all like something different. So just the way I might like to be loved as a person, as a man, might not, anybody else on this panel may not find that as the highest form of love as far as they're concerned. So I think that's just an individual thing. I don't really subscribe to there's a difference between men and women so much.
And I think it's more about how you show love. I don't think it's a love differently, but maybe As a man, you show love differently. Going back to what you all were talking about in the first question, I think being vulnerable as a man, I think sometimes is very hard because it's looked at as a weakness. And so I think I wouldn't say we love differently. I just think that it's the way it's shown may be different or different.
Okay, and that's why you guys have a proper communication. Oh, was somebody about to say something?
Yeah,
Well, I
I'm
think to
just gonna
piggyback on
touch
what
on the
Jamel was saying,
Go ahead.
was like, love languages. Everybody has a different love language. Like, if I rock with you, I'm feeding you. That's how I get down. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I really rock with you, I'm gonna take you to my favorite restaurant, and I'm gonna make you my favorite foods just because I want you to feel the joy and excitement that I feel. If I really, really rock with you, I'm gonna take you to my favorite places. I like people to experience the things that I love, because that's my way of bringing you into my world. Like, I could buy you a purse or buy you, like fly you out. We go to Miami, or do all the stuff you hear rappers rap about, but that's all superficial things. And, when people like open their heart enough to bring you into their universe, that's just a different level of love and letting your guard down, letting people in. And, and everybody doesn't operate that same way. Some people show off by gifting. Some people show off by, I'm gonna let this man do everything that I normally wait to date 9 to do tonight. Like everybody has a thing. And, and you just got to figure out what your thing is and match yourself up with a person who's receptive of what that is that you do and bring.
Okay. Kendra said it's hard for y'all to show love because y'all hard on each other. Is that true?
I think it's society. You know what I'm saying? I think that society puts a lot of stipulations on how you show love, and so I would agree with Kendra, but I think it's society. I don't think it's just other men. I think it's just some type of way how we've been trained based off of. I don't know if it's just the social media or whatever, but we kind of just get caught up in certain boxes, and I think that's what hinders us from showing love the way we do.
Okay.
I think it's a
Anybody else?
difference between the fact of showing love and at the root of it, how we love. I think men and women are different in actually how they love. I think men hold a responsibility of love. Um, Not necessarily saying that women don't. It's just I think women romanticize the feeling of love, as opposed to a man having certain mindset about who he loves.
Okay. Somebody said, why do men feel like they have to hold everything in versus being able to open up and express your truth?
Because our truth is not
Anybody want to take
oftentimes
that question?
appreciated. Truth oftentimes is not appreciated. HeadKrack said it earlier, like people want the truth until they get it, right? So most times if I'm talking to a young lady, they have a hard time accepting certain things about themselves, and it's about the accountability aspect. I have to take accountability for everything that goes on with me, but it's like I influenced that even though she made the decision, or that's an area she could grow in, but doesn't want to acknowledge that that's an area she grows in. So being the fact that we just can't even tell the truth sometimes makes it a problem.
Okay. Diane said, who's married? And if not, why not?
Married.
I'm engaged to get married. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Divorce.
Okay. Anybody else?
Nothing.
Tramel. Kendra said Tramel.
Leave me alone.
You ain't gonna answer that? Okay, well, you know what? All right, well. So what do men want but don't ask for?
Open marriages.
Oh my God. What is going
I mean, like I think it's such a taboo thing, and I think if the mic was handed to a woman would say the same thing. And when I say open, I don't mean like full blown open. You out here Will and Jada in it, but from the standpoint of like goddamn, can I get a hall pass every now and then? Or, you know, can you, there's a lot of options. And some people are having to defend themselves against attackers more often than others based on the options that they're given. If you play for the Lakers, you're having to run more defense than someone who works at Big Lots. You know, and it just is what it is. And granted, out of like 72 people that try to, you know, approach you over the span of 3 months, you may block 67 of them. You know, and despite your best efforts. And, you know, and I think people are afraid of saying truly what it is they want a lot of times in those situations out of fear of hurting or offending somebody. So that's just another thing we put a cork back on and bottle it up, and I'll just like these Instagram pictures in private. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it is what it is.
Okay. Somebody said, Danielle said, why be married if it's gonna be open? If it's gotta be open. Diane said, why not just be single?
Because sometimes you're already married. You don't realize this till you like you know how like when you leave your house and you forget something and you're like, damn, I'm halfway to work. I gotta keep going. Like sometimes it be like that. You can't undo it. You're already in the mix. And I know so many people who risked it all just to be back outside and find out that outside different than it was last time you was outside. So there is that safety that comes with the familiarity of the situation. What did TLC say? Stick to the rivers and lakes that you used to. However, you can dream and fantasize.
All right. Somebody said, what's the point of marriage? Meaning you are not holding yourself accountable on your vows. Oh, they coming for y'all.
See, that's why we bottle everything in. Because then when you say how you feel about this, you get attacked.
But you know, one of the things is every woman does not want to be monogamous either. There are women that want open relationships too. So it's not like you're just looking at men like we're the only ones that want that, and that's just not true. We talked about trapeze at one point, right? It's not just men in there, it's women and women that are into that. So don't just put it on the men like we're the only ones that want that, because that's just not true.
Oh, I don't want it. I like my monogamous. I'm selfish in that department. Kendra said, "What the hell, HeadKrack?" Diane said, "We're attacking. We're not attacking. We're just curious, so we're asking." Angela said, "The movie The Past with Candy Burris didn't work out well in the movie or real life." Ha ha ha.
That,
Hold on.
but yo, TraMel so hit it on the head though about like I've never been to a swingers club, but I am intrigued. I am on Reddit and I be reading about it. I'm like, yo, what the hell be going on in here? There is no disguise that I can wear and show up to any of this stuff, right? But I just I am fascinated about the psychology of it all. And truth be told, yeah, a lot of times, I think in the masses, it's put out there that it's us as men that are into that openness and like, yo, they there. They be there. It's everybody. And I think at a certain level, sooner than later, somebody's at the door. Somebody is going to realize, or be the brave person to say that the women are just as hyper alpha sexual as men are.
Vigilante says strictly monogamous people won't understand poly at all. No, because I'm monogamous and it sounds like cursive to me. I don't know. It sounds like it's Spanish or something. I would never know. Angela said to each his own. All right. Do y'all think that courtship gonna come back in 2025 at any time? Because men don't court women no more. Why is that? Y'all keep the questions coming too.
Forth effort you don't have to put forth. That's the problem.
So you're saying why back? Go ahead.
I was like, if you don't have to put forth the effort, why put it forth? If you can get what you want without having to go through that, then what's the point? Right? So if women as a whole are making it easy because of this social media thing or whatever the reason is, no man is going to put forth effort for something that I don't have to do all that. So why would I?
Kendra said, do y'all like to be approached?
I don't know any guy who wouldn't want to be approached. I mean, I think that's a good thing. It boosts the ego, makes you feel like you got it. So yeah, I don't know anybody who doesn't want to be approached. But I also understand as a man, traditional stereotypes will say that we approach women too. So I understand that, but there's nothing wrong with being approached.
Okay.
I think especially in this post Me Too era and still kind of in it, you kind of got to be 100% sure you got the green light to even step in the direction of a person these days. So I think, like that kind of, kills the, the uncertainty that one may have, whether or not you even have a shot sometimes, man. Just like you got to just let the game come to you. And then going back to the courtship thing, we're in a microwave society. We was just talking about how fast time be moving. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you used to have to warm your car for like 15 minutes before you can like jump in it and drive off. These apps and just the way everything moves these days has rapidly moved up. So like to somebody in the modern day generation, courtship might be, well, we went out twice. And that's the level of courtship. I think what it looks like everything changes and evolves over time. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse.
Okay. Kendra said, is that true, TraMel? Vigilante said, and yes, I'm approached daily. I love it, and I still approach. Fire Slayer 62 said, we do try to court. Just some women think courtship is coming in with money out ready to pay a bill. Y'all agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
absolutely.
everybody said yeah. Dang. And somebody said, in this day and time, do men really want a woman with morals and standards or something easy?
Morals and
Okay,
standards. Definitely.
morals and standards.
Y'all still want morals and standards?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I mean, hey.
Because like you don't want to be like person number 72 in a 28-day month that somebody has, just, ran across and did whatever. So you do want somebody who has like a vetting process and not just letting everybody come and shoot easy layups on them. And then even going back to the thing about the the courtship thing, there have been so many dudes who have been victims of foodie calls. And that's where like somebody just go out with you just so you get some food.
Atlanta. That is Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Do you know? TraMel know?
ShowOut. He participating through the comment section. He said we have to spend. I already read that one. Kendra said, I think a lot of us women still go by men fine as a wife aspect.
So let me like with that one. There's a difference in between expressing an interest in chasing somebody. We're not saying chase, like, but if you come up to me and say, "I think you look nice," and now I know you're interested, then that gives me the room to either pursue it or not. That's not chasing. That's just expressing interest. So I'm not looking for somebody to chase me, but you can make it easy by letting me know you're interested. Because a lot of times we're out in public, I don't know who's with who, so I don't want to be talking to somebody, girl, and be a whole issue.
Okay. Kendra says, so with women without standards and morals, it'll be just a smash and pass. TraMel, you look nice. Kendra words, not mine.
Hey, let me add this into the conversation. I
Okay.
think we go through different phases through our journey. And being transparent, I went through a period of time where I went through a whole phase. And I had to, the objective was not necessarily to find somebody to settle down with, but it was about, just spending time with whoever made sense in that moment. And I wasn't looking necessarily for morals at that point in time. Now, as we get out of that phase, then we start to realize, okay, I'm looking for somebody who I really want to spend time with, somebody who connects with me, somebody who understands me, and vice versa. Then it becomes a little bit different perspective. And I think that women do the same thing as well. So it kind of depends on where you are in that roller coaster of moods and emotions on if you're looking for morals and standards or if you're looking for just somebody out there to have a good time.
Okay. Vigilante said the best husbands are the men who had the opportunity to be that guy. Then you grow to a husband mentality right after. Is that true, y'all?
I think there's not a one size fits all answer for everything, but I think for some people they need to get that out of them. Like like I had an attempted whole phase. It didn't work out. And I went from like one long ass relationship to another long ass relationship, and then I look back, man, damn, man, I wish I could have had a whole phase, but at the end of the day, like I protect what I have, and I protect the people around me. So I think everything that happens in people's path, that's the path you're supposed to have, and hopefully that whole phase don't get you Magic Johnson's doctor.
So what ruins attraction for men?
I think what TraMel said about the chasing situation, I think it's good to show interest, but then I think if it's too aggressive, that's the turn off.
Okay. Anybody else want to piggyback off of what he said? Nobody? Okay.
I mean, I
Well,
think a woman that's a liability. Like some
Okay.
people are more. I one time I was dating this girl, right, and she was stunning, and every time we would go out, she'd be like, "You see how he was looking at me?" And I'm like, I mean, like I look at you that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want me to like Street Fighter challenge every person who stares at you longer than 4 seconds, and you just kind of got to know when the person frequency is such a combative energy to where like you always gonna be in problems dealing with those people. So when you dating somebody or you seeing somebody that has a potential to be a continuous liability, you kind of got to know when to cut your losses and move on before you end up in a terrible situation that you too far down the road to get out of.
Okay. Vigilante said a low level of understanding ruins it for me. And entitlement. Combative agreed HeadKrack. Vigilante said, why you ain't talking? All right, we're gonna go ahead. Y'all keep the comment section going for the men in the panel.
I'm moving around right now, but I'm tuned in for the whole conversation. I promise. I'm tuned in. But okay, since you want to hear my voice, I'm gonna say this then.
What?
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say on some of the stuff that we talked about earlier, I think that some of the things that men need to do better is to know how they want a woman to fit into their life when they get them. There's a lot of successful brothers on the panel right now, and with any woman that comes into their life, they know the open space and emotional and mental capacity that they have for them, and they need to be upfront about the time that they have for them and what that looks like tangibly in real time.
All right, y'all want to pick it back up with that? Y'all agree? Dwayne, you was gonna say something earlier. You still have something to say?
I can't remember what it was, Lamb.
Okay. All right. So, do men feel chosen or convenient in these days times?
The question again?
Do men feel chosen or convenient these days times?
I think it would be safe to say some men are chosen out of convenience.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of people, men and women, who are in relationships for survival. And I think it goes back to, once again, how terrible the economy is right now. You know what I'm saying? There's some cities where like you could have a 6-figure salary and you still need a roommate. It's that bad out here. And the same way, like even like probably like some of our parents and our grandparents, like, yo, I hate this woman, but I gotta stay in this relationship till at least junior graduate. You know what I'm saying? That sort of thing. And they're just thugging it out because it's rough out there on your own. So some relationships are transactional at this point, and in a perfect world, maybe they find the love again. But then in a lot of situations, they just in a relationship miserable.
Okay. Fire Slayer said convenient. Chanel said Atlanta, and Kendra said marriage is a business. Let me tell you
Let me say
something.
this. I think the goal for all of us should be chosen and not convenient. And if we're looking for somebody out of convenience, or if we realize somebody is seeking us out of convenience, then that's a red flag. We need to turn away and run real quick from that situation. I mean, just because somebody might be fine, just because somebody might have some things going for them, does not necessarily mean that we need to settle or need to spend too much time with them if our whole objective is to pay for their rent or to be able to provide, a lifestyle. and not necessarily for the love, for the relationship, for what the basically the connection of the two of you, what it should truly be, that love. So my thoughts.
Okay. Chanel said a wise man once said it's cheaper to keep her. Y'all agree with that?
Mm-mm.
No, TraMel, what? Okay, here. Oh, okay. Y'all go ahead. Y'all got the flow.
If you're talking about financially, maybe if you're talking about losing money, but what is your peace of mind worth? I'm not going to be in a house. The Bible says it's better to live on the roof of your house than to dwell in a house with a contentious woman. Why would I stay in that house? That is not cheaper to keep it as far as my mental sanity is concerned or my peace is concerned. I can do without the money. I can make the money back. I'm not a person that don't hustle. So the money's not the issue. It's my peace that I'm more concerned about protecting.
Okay. Anybody else want to piggyback off of that?
I just
Nobody?
want to say, yeah, what TraMel said. Look, the money gonna come and go, but I think those who have an insecurity or fear that they'll never have it end up staying with somebody out of convenience, and so we don't need that approach towards looking at it. And so I'm a firm believer that let it go if they're not the one for you. I've seen people be miserable and hate it, and all they do is complain and bring negativity and want to put that negativity on you, which we really don't need. We need to have those people that support us to be positive. But if we're in a bad situation, we need to cut our losses and move on. And having the faith, being prayerful, and understanding that what we lost, we'll get in return. It's a faith and obedience.
Okay. All right. So, what makes a man emotionally unavailable?
Reasons. Sometimes we go through a lot of things as men in our past relationships that kind of forces us to be guarded.
Okay. Anybody else want to go off of that topic? I mean, off
Yeah,
of
I mean,
what
I
he
think
said.
also too, like depending on what you're dealing with personally at the time, like a lot of times, I think, going back to that, we as men, like a lot of times, keep things in. We don't want to burden you with everything that's on fire because then that's going to stress you out. And then you're going to bring that stress back to now it's a revolving door of the stress coming in and out. So a lot of times, we have to make ourselves emotionally unavailable just so we can lock in and deal with whatever it is that we're dealing with so we can get back to being available. And sometimes it's a temporary season and sometimes it's something that some people never get out of. You know what I mean? It just depends on, the specific scenario.
I'm gonna take it in
Okay.
another direction. I'm gonna mention something else. A lot of times we need to look back to how we grew up and the role models that we had. Some of us saw our fathers or saw men that were strictly providers, but they weren't emotionally connected, and with our moms, with their spouses, whatever. And so we grow up emulating that behavior, or either we go completely 180, the opposite direction. But I think those who don't actually see that emotional availability growing up, it becomes harder for them to become emotionally available to women as they get into their more mature relationships. So going back and tracing what you saw growing up could be an indication of what you run into later in life when you're in those situations.
So, what does a healthy relationship look like? Besides me and Michael B. Jordan, y'all don't know that. Oh.
You got to have good communication is one thing. I think you got to be able to communicate with one another, and if there is an issue, be able to talk that out. And so I think that would be my number one thing, just coming through.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I think it goes back and forth, like if you picture like a cup of water, right? And if you pour out half of that cup of water, y'all have to be able to complete each other. If you're lacking in something, I should be able to fill in those things that you're lacking, whether it's emotional support, whether it's, even just a pep talk to bring you up, whatever the things you need, I should be able to provide that for you as a partner. And on the flip side of that, that other partner should be able to fill those gaps in for me if that's what I need, because that's how we complete each other. You know what I mean? So if it's always very lopsided, you know, after a while, that's going to wear thin on the relationship, and you're going to start to have problems.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
100%. I agree
go.
with HeadKrack, and I agree with Mr. Jackson as well. And I wanted to say this right here to Kendra when she was saying the thing about the marriage. I wanted to remind her that marriage in the beginning, in its origin, started off as a king marrying his daughter off to another king to keep the wealth in the family, and also they traded land as well. So this has always been a thing. Marriage has always been a business. It wasn't up until recent, like the last 100, 200, 300 years, that people started being able to get married for love. And even on the continent of Africa, there are certain ceremonies and only certain things that you can do in order for you to be able to get married. You can't just get married just at your own will, just because you like somebody. So I think that as members of the diaspora, as like a spinoff, we kind of lose the origin of what it is to actually be married and actually have a foundation that's filled with traditions and ceremonies and a purpose and reasoning for being in that relationship. And that's why we always hear the women say love, 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 love over and over again. And we always hear men saying equally yoked, purpose, what exactly are we doing this for? And we're going to stay on that same unequally yoked duality until we realize and come to the exception of the fact that we're doing it alternatively and European, like, especially in America.
Okay, Marvin said, "Do men feel that they settle or do they marry what they want?"
I think that there is no one answer to that one. I think you got some who settle. I think you got some who are more emotionally aware, who understand what they need and are looking for in their life to be able to feel that other half, like HeadKrack was talking earlier. And if that's the case, then you're going to be more in tune to find what you really want and not just settling for somebody. Also, I think it comes to how much, I don't want to say men, but we as individuals value ourselves. And sometimes we don't value ourselves enough to think that we deserve what we want. And so we deal with or we settle for what we can get. And, you know, that's a reflection of you. But at the same time, I think that, you know, people do it. So sometimes it happens. Sometimes that's a reality out there.
Oh, your mic is off or something.
So do you feel a woman can't help, or I'm sorry, so you feel a woman can't handle or help you in those moments where you just choose not to?
I mean, it's a big blanket statement. Like, some women do know how to help. Some men do know how to help their women. Some women don't. Some men don't. You know, like in a perfect world, you're in a relationship with somebody who can do all the things. And even going back to the thing about settling, I mean, I think some people settle. Some people like really truly find the love of their life. I wanted to marry Regina Hall. I didn't meet Regina Hall till after I was married.
See, you should have waited like me with Michael B. Jordan. Neither one of us ain't married, so we still got a chance. And he's a really nice guy. You're more in tune with the sidetrack, y'all. You're more in tune, HeadKrack, with the entertainment. You're more deeper than I am with it. So it would be nice as a Christmas present if you just let me and Michael B. Jordan cross paths or something like that. Get in touch with his people, and you know, we'll talk about it.
You gotta get on the press junkets when he got the movies. You gotta like throw your hat into the ring and be like, "Yo, can I interview him for the platform?" So you know, like
I ain't
that's
trying
how
to
it works.
interview him.
That's how it starts. He gets to see your bubbly personality. The next thing you know, like, yo, how can I get in touch with your people? You know, da da da, and that you get one step closer. Your foot is now in the door. Your hand is now reaching through the window.
In my mind, we already got past the talking stage and stuff. But anyway, okay, I'm sidetracked. So Kendra said, not that simple. Men and women both are sold the dream in the first, but don't find something. Oh, no, Kendra did not say that. Fire Sled Sarah said that to Kendra. Why do men feel like they can't open up? When you married and stuff, they still feel like they can't open up to their woman. Why do y'all do that? Like if they going through something or whatever the case, like us women, we be like, if y'all be like, hey, we'll be like, hey, I had a bad day, and we'll go into details. Y'all men are like, if we ask y'all how was today, y'all be like, oh well, it was a job.
I think women are a lot more detailed than men are. You know, we will give you the Cliff Notes version of most things. Women will tell you what type of red it was. It was Indian summer, as it was da 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 da. And like sometimes, we only have the bandwidth to like withstand so much. Like, because like in a situational situation where like, hey, how was your day? You got me for about 45 seconds. And then, then after that, like, like the tumbleweeds start rolling, the music at the award show start playing, wrap it up, be like, like I didn't need a play by play because, because I think we as men, we just gotta, we're wired a certain way to only probably like retain so much information conversationally, or we'll just give you what we just the Cliff Notes version, and like you just didn't know what you were signing up for when you asked the question. I think that's what it is I'm trying to say.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. I think that's a great point. And I also think that we find two different purposes in sharing as well. So if a man and a woman work a job and they both hate the job, and a person walks in and asks the woman, "Do you not like this job?" She's going to go into detail about why she does not like that job. And then after he asks the woman, if he goes to the man and asks this same man about the exact same job, the man is going to think about all of the reasons why he's working the job and what he's paying for. And then the only thing that's gonna come out of his mouth is, it's a job. And it's gonna sound like that he's not expressing, but what he did was he just compartmentalized all of that emotional breakdown in his mind and said it was no purpose in me sharing that because it doesn't change the circumstance. I'm working this job to get to a certain means so that I can do something better. But it's just the different purposes that we have of sharing. So it comes off like we're unavailable when really he just told you a whole bunch in that little bit.
Kendra said, "What quality do you see in a woman to lock her down before you see the real her?" Quotations behind real. Anybody want to take it? This y'all panel.
Well, I didn't want to be the first one jumping out there every time. Yo, like male or female, you gotta rock with somebody for all 4 seasons, sometimes twice, sometimes thrice, before you understand who they truly are. Because the summertime version of a person you meet might be a person who is like depressed in the winter, whether it be just due to emotional things, where the moon is positioned compares to Jupiter, all the things, or maybe, or maybe like those certain times a year have certain emotional traumas on those people. Like I get really sentimental around this time of year because my grandfather died on Christmas Eve, and my birthday is like, like 7 days before Christmas. So I turned into a kind of like I close up this time of year, and I've gotten better because like usually what you want to do on your birthday, be left alone. But now like like after years of working through it, I figured it out. And you're not gonna understand that sometimes just by like being with somebody for 6 months or 7 months. You need to rock with them for a whole solar rotation before you could really even like start to even grasp who these people are.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Manietta said, "Why some men don't date women who wasn't raised by their fathers?"
For me, I've been raised by my father, but I've also noticed that women haven't been raised by their fathers. Oftentimes, don't know what a man is supposed to be in a relationship. So you're judging me off of your ideology about how a man should come in, what he should do, based off of wherever you got this idea from. All the single women in your family who've been talking all these years, saying what it should be, but none of them having a real man around. So if I come in and I'm being a man and I'm standing up and I'm saying that will not work right here, you take it as me being negative. You take it as me being um, contradictory to you. But I'm just like, no, I have to set the framework. That's outside of the framework. I cannot allow that as a man. That's what I have to do. So if you don't understand that the men set the tone for certain things, if you don't know what leadership looks like, it's hard for me to be a leader when you don't know what that looks like. Because you think I just want you submissive. No, I do want your opinion, but only one person ultimately is responsible for the decision. So sometimes it could be you, sometimes it could be me. But I need you to understand or be open to learn what it is to have a man in your life that is an actual and true leader.
Okay. All right. Anybody got any questions about that or any comments? LJ says so true. Them seasons are crucial. I guess she was referring to HeadKrack. Kendra says, so you think Steve Harvey was wrong when he said a man knows in 10 minutes what he wants from a woman?
In totality, yes. I think you might know whether you want to do some things with her at night. Yeah, right on. But in terms of do I want to keep her, you don't really know that from the jump. You might think you want to, but in the process of getting to know her, that could go one way or the other.
Okay. All right. And Kendra said HeadKrack.
Oh, in regards to, I mean, I think TraMel hit it on the head. Like, I mean, you're gonna know if you're physically attracted to somebody in 10 seconds, but that's just the physicality, and that's just one dynamic of a larger puzzle. Like, there are people who I might not be physically attracted to, but then after, like, you know, you talking to them for a while, it's like, yo, your personality dope. Like, you know, people can grow on you. You know what I mean? The same way that, you know, as a man, especially being in the industry I'm in, I had to stare at beautiful people till they were no longer beautiful. Like, I used to sit across from Portia every day. And you know what I'm saying? Like, so at the end of the day, like, I think it works on a bunch of different levels. Yeah, that physicality thing, you know, immediately, but there's other ways that people can kind of pull you in with other things, you know, as time goes by, as you get to know them. And that personality, you could be a beautiful person with a terrible personality. And next thing you know, all that lust goes out the window. You know what I mean? If you're a man who's really wired right, because you just can't be exchanging your energy with everybody and everything.
Okay, good answer. Fire Slayer, go ahead.
I was going to say agree, and I was going to answer Aaliyah's next question as well. And I was going to say also, dope book, dope movie. Shout out to Steve. But Steve is also coming from the perspective of somebody who's had multiple marriages and multiple divorces. He's also coming from the perspective of somebody who is a comedian, a radio personality, and an actor. He's not coming from the perspective of a coal miner. He's not coming from the perspective of the guy who's in college, the guy who works at McDonald's. So the things that Steve is saying is more tailored toward a certain type of person and a certain type of person who wants to be a certain type of husband, and that's his lived experience. And he's using dangerous verbiage when he's saying all men will know such and such time and all women should do such and such thing. That's dangerous for one lived experience when there's billions of people in the world. But shout out to Steve.
All right. So what makes a man emotionally shut down?
Feeling like you're not heard.
Okay.
You know, I think everybody wants to feel supported. They want to feel like their opinion is respected. And I think once you realize that you're maybe, like, you know, talking to a brick wall, not literally, but figuratively, you know, it does kind of make you shut down, or maybe you feel like you've done all the things that you can do to try to rectify a situation and still not coming together. And then you're like, it's a lost cause. And then, and then you wallow in it for a little bit until you figure out the game plan and get it right.
All right. ShowOut said if it's a battle. Is vulnerability for y'all, does it feel like a weakness or something like that? Like, why y'all don't feel like y'all could be vulnerable at times? Does it feel like punishment or something when y'all do feel vulnerable?
I don't think it comes down to being a weakness. I just think that a lot of times when we are vulnerable, it's given back to us as if either we're the problem of it, or it's brought back up at a later date in an argument, or it's just basically nobody cares.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a weakness to get things off your chest. It's just not accepted from us.
Okay.
Just going off of that, yeah, I think that it depends on how it's received. And if the other person receives it, cares, and wants to help, which, going back, I wanted to touch on this earlier. I wanted to talk about what makes a man shut down. one of the things is not getting support from his woman. And so when you don't have that support, when you don't feel like that person has your back or is willing to listen and at least try to help solve the issue, try to be, have your back, that makes us feel like we can't come to them for what we're dealing with. And so I think that goes back to what Dwayne was just talking about a second ago, us not being vulnerable. If I am starting to open up and pour my heart out to you, and you're just looking at me with a blank stare, or you said, go figure it out, then I'm not going to continue to come to you because you are not providing that emotional support back to me that I need in order to be strong and keep going. So when we start to see indications of that, it makes it easier to say, well, either I'm just going to shut down or I'm going to go find somebody who will listen to me and give me that support.
Okay. What does emotionally maturity look like, though? In a man, in a woman, in a man, however it goes. What do y'all, in a woman, if y'all was dating a woman, what does that look like, and what does that look like for y'all as a man?
I would say trust.
Go ahead, JMeel.
I would say trust, being able to trust the person, and then feeling that she trusts you. I think that's very important in any relationship is trust. Yeah, I would say that's.
Okay. You was gonna say something, Tiran?
Yeah, I was just going to say, so emotional maturity, let's go back to mature decisions. When we can be in situations and circumstances and control the way that we respond and that we react better, we're becoming more mature when we're dealing with those things. When you got two people who can deal with conflict, deal with adversity, deal with things that they don't agree with on, and not be cussing each other out, not be fussing and not be ready to fight, or not be overreacting to something that might be minor. I believe you pick and choose the battles that you want, and sometimes the battles that we think we have aren't even battles at all. And when we can parse through all of that, then you have the makings of an emotionally mature relationship with somebody. But if one person is there and the other one isn't, then that just isn't going to work out until that other person actually raises up to that level, or something else has to come in order to make it to where you can vibe on that same level.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and switch gears to the next topic, which is just polygamy. Anybody is poly on here? ShowOut is he lived that very faithfully. So anybody else, because we can't even get him on here. Unfortunately, he's in the comment section. Anybody want to touch on that? Their views, or have they experienced polygamy before? Nobody? No? Oh,
I'm
okay.
not, so yeah.
Oh, show out said he's here. I know you got to try to get somebody else's account and join through it that way, because I don't know, because I kept sending the invite. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. We'll circle back around to that then. Nobody don't want to touch on polygamy. What's y'all opinion on it though? Do y'all have an opinion on it?
I mean, it worked for who it worked for. It's not for everybody. Like, I think it takes a certain level of emotional maturity to make that dynamic work for you, and, I've never been one to yuck anybody's yum. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even if you statistically lined every man in the woman in the world up next to every woman in the world, there's way more women than men. So like, some look at it as like, hey, I'm doing my part. or some are just doing it selfishly, or some are doing it for that business structure. Because like, I had the opportunity to interview somebody who was like on like some TLC network show about poly relationships, and they ran a really interesting household because it wasn't the sexual paradise that everybody completely leans into when you think about that, but it was really like like I'm in multiple relationships, but we work together to fortify what we're trying to build collectively. I don't know if they're still together now, but they seemed happy at the time. And then there's Neo.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say Neo, for example.
Nicole said everyone has their own preferences. Showout said yes, empire building and just having a lot of love to give and having a lady that love women. Kendra said, Terry, off subject, but what y'all look like? I'm gonna put all my pieces down in the game of guess who. What? You know what? I don't have to. Do your man have a beard? Oh my God. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. Let me just say, polygamy is not for me. My future husband, please don't come over here thinking that that's what it is. Please don't think that you gonna get a hall pass. Don't think that it's gonna be a non-monogamous thing. If I'm not enough, just please, I accept that. Just go ahead and go and party with the rest of them. I don't like eating. None of that. I go to the doctor too much for that. Anyway,
Even if it was Michael B. Jordan,
why you gotta put my man out like that?
I'm just saying.
What you mean?
Everything's situational depending on the situation.
Michael first would want that.
And for all we know, the B stand for babes. Michael Babes Jordan.
No, baby. It's Michael Bakari Jordan. His mama named Donna Jordan. His daddy named Michael A. Jordan. He wouldn't even name his son Michael C. Jordan because, you know what? Y'all just get me started. Let me go. Y'all ain't finna make no fool out of me on my podcast. I don't care if it is y'all panel. Y'all so low down up here, baby. HeadKrack, you need to call Michael people. How does financial pressure affect men mentally? Anybody? This is y'all powder, man. Y'all.
It can drive. Look. That can be the most important thing to a man in able to have a stable life.
Okay.
When the money is good, you can control, and I don't want to say control, but you have better ability to create situations that can make life as a whole better. And when that financial stability is gone, then you can spend all of your time stressing and worrying about it, and it can spill over in the way that you deal with your mate, the way that you treat your kids, the way that you go out there and function. So I think that financial well-being is something that is important for us to be able to have a strong mental well-being in life as a whole, because when that ain't right, everything else is going to be weak.
Okay. All right. Anybody want to piggyback off of what he said? No. So why won't y'all let the woman help y'all then? Like if it's not like, if y'all a partner, if my partner lacking, I want to be able to help my partner. Why is that so hard for a man to accept? Is it like an ego thing or what? Like, what is that about?
I mean, in a perfect world, you got a partner that is willing to help, and y'all, grinding and putting it in together. I mean, I think, in an ideal world, everybody, I mean, most men, I can't speak for everybody, right? Most men would love to be in a place to where, like, hey, listen, I got this. You don't have to worry about working. Just make sure, like, everything else is held down. Like, I make the money, you make sure the bills get paid, so I don't have to worry about none of the, the weird admin or any of that other stuff. And if that's the type of flow you want, then great. But yeah, like, when the finances are bad, yeah, it raises the stress level no matter who you are, where you are, what you are. You know what I mean? So, I don't think there's too many guys that are going to turn down to help if well, hey, if I got to work a double shift, I will. You don't want to, nobody wants to watch their ship sink.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I think that's a great point. I don't think that anybody should invite a woman into their life to help them struggle if they're already struggling. I think that when you operating in your purpose and what God has put you on this planet for, is going to start to monetize itself at some point. Once you get into a flow of what you're doing, and that is a life that you invite a woman into. Now, the perfect situation, like HeadKrack said, is when that woman wants to come into your life and she wants to help on top of the beautiful situation that you've already created for yourself. And hopefully she has a beautiful situation as well. I just hit 31 myself. So for the first time with me moving to Sierra Leone, I'm going to be the head of marketing for a hotel. So I'm going to be living on the top floor of the hotel for the next 3 years. And then my dream car is going to be paid off. So the first version that those women meet is going to be that version that they see. But they're not going to see the 6 to 10 to 12 years of work of me building up to that. But that's me creating my frame and creating the dynamic for her to be able to walk into.
Okay. All right. We're going to go to the comment section and see what they're talking about on here. LJ said, I would go HeadKrack. She's telling lies. I would not go nowhere if it has anything to do with pilot with Michael B. Jordan and will be divorced before he even knew it. Kendra said, do y'all carry all the finances or 50-50?
Personally, I mean, I carry everything in my household, but like my wife does things that I am not qualified to do at the level that she does it. Them kids gonna be at school late. They, you know what I'm saying? The hair ain't gonna be done. You know what I'm saying? Like, like there's a certain level of nurturing that, sweat equity is money too. You know what I mean? A lot of times people be like, well, how much you pay? Like, yo, listen, like like there's certain things in that space that I just, listen, like you couldn't pay me to do it. Well, you could, but yeah, I'm okay with covering everything. I am okay because I see how hard she works making sure the kids are good. You know what I mean?
Okay, Fire Slayer said we gotta have money at least because if we short, ugly, and too out of shape, overweight. Y'all agree with him? All right.
Let me just say
Well,
this.
I want to answer that last one too. So for me, I have my career, I have a house, I already have kids. So we're not necessarily building anything from scratch together. Most of the women I have a tendency to meet are going to be 35, 40 plus. And they already have some things going with them too. So they'll have the whole careers and everything. I'm perfectly willing to go, like, I don't have to go, I wouldn't even want to go 50-50. I'll go 80-20, 70-30, 90-10. Just because I want them to have some input into what we're doing. So if I pay the mortgage, if they pay the electric bill, light bill, gas bill, I'm cool with that. And groceries, I'm cool with that. I know it'll be cheaper than paying a rent or mortgage and all the bills by themselves. So,
Okay.
just having a little bit of help versus taking like everything away, or I can't make it because we're not doing 50-50. That's not a situation I'm looking to be in.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say 50-50, but you definitely got to bring something to the table, so definitely, like Camille said, I mean, even if it's 80-20, I think bring something to the table. Come with something.
Kendra said a bro of mine said it's offensive, just like you asking a man to carry a baby. That's not your role.
What's wrong with carrying a baby? Like you mean like holding it, or like the 9 months part of it?
The
Like,
9 months part. And what brother said that? Terry, you said
I
that.
have no clue which brother she talking about.
I don't know which brother she talking about either. All right, Nicole said, I can agree with 50-50. I can also agree with him if he wants to take care of all of it. And then Kendra said at this point, what is a relationship for?
I would say it's for the companionship part of it, but I think you have to also look at where you are developmentally and what stage of life you're in and like where you're coming from. If we were both like 20 years old, coming from nothing, having nothing, we're building together, that's different. Like that can be whatever it needs to be, 100, 0, whatever. I'm cool with that. But if I've put in a lot of work, like I don't need a third dependent. I have kids. I don't need a third dependent. Don't want a third dependent. If I did, I'd have had a third child. So we could do some other things. Like if we have that, we could start buying property together. We could do a lot of things to build outside of just a regular household. We could just I just certain financial goals. Maybe we want to go on 2 trips a year. That's something we can work towards doing together.
Yeah, I
Kendra.
think that when it comes to what Kendra is saying is that she already has it in her mind the way that she thinks that her relationship should go. So there's going to be a lot of things that she disagrees with rather than agrees with because she's already coming in with preconceived notions. So what she should do is she should find somebody that operates within those specific parameters and not have conversation with people who operate outside of those parameters because she's going to be more confused at the end of the conversation than the beginning.
Oh, Kendra, you got something to say in the comments about that? All right, while we wait on Kendra response, ShowOut said major facts. What emotion are men most afraid of to admit?
probably hurt,
Here.
Y'all heard?
hurt and fear. Yeah.
I say fear.
Okay. Why? Y'all think that y'all gonna get the backlash from the women, or it's just what it look like to the homeboys and stuff like that, or just to the world?
Nobody wants to admit that they're scared of anything. And I think that, whether that is, you know, fear of what could happen, anxiety associated with it. In some cases, it's fear of success. What could happen if I do everything right? But just having that anxiety and that fear associated with it, I think is just something that we tend to try to minimize or mask in some way.
Yeah, for me, I would say I'm not afraid of my emotions at all. I think it's more a matter of what you do with them as opposed to that you have them. I'm a human being. I go through stuff just like anybody else. I have fears, but am I going to let the fear paralyze me, or I'm going to maneuver in spite of the fear? I think that's more important than the emotion itself. So I actually don't have a problem with saying I'm afraid of this. I don't know where we're going. That's not an issue for me.
Okay. Mayetta said, "Do you think black men lack showing emotions based on being told to hush and man up as a boy?" Ooh, that's good, girl.
I mean, I think we as a society have had a lot of years of just bad programming that stuck with us. You know what I mean? Like, yo, man, yo, man up. You're like, yo, men don't cry. All those things, like, and I think, we're now in the last like 15, 20 years have started to have these more open dialogues about therapy and mental health, because there was always a stigma, put on all of that. Like, yo, if you need to go see someone or talk to someone about something or talk about your vulnerabilities, you weak or you broken or you're crazy. And now, because everybody's been made a little bit crazy by the pressure cooker of the world that we're in right now, everyone kind of is starting to agree with the fact that we do need to talk to others and seek counseling and try to like get outside opinions to help us, course correct things.
All right. Mom said, "What can we do as women to help alleviate the fear?"
I think that's why I said fear is one of the big ones, because I don't think there's nothing anybody can do to alleviate fear. I mean, it's most of the time not rational to begin with. So it's there's nothing nobody outside can do or say to help you with the fear. It's just something that you initially have to go through.
Okay.
You got to
Kendra
fight
said,
with it
"Y'all."
yourself.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Finish. Oh, Kendra said, "Y'all say y'all not heard, but now it's a problem trying to learn, man, what the form is open up when the form is open up."
Remember, I just said that it's not a problem. We just have a different opinion than she has, so it's going to always come off as confusing to her because she's not open to hearing new opinions. And on that other part about the fear, with me about to move to America, to Africa, one thing that I hear from every woman that I tell that is, aren't you afraid to start over? Aren't you afraid to go into a new culture? And I have to remind them that I'm not going into a new culture. I'm returning back to our original culture. And I'm more afraid of staying a slave than I am of being free. So we just have two different opinions about it. And I think that that's how men and women rationalize fear just differently. So that's the reason why most men don't open up about it, because of responses like that.
Okay. Mayetta said, "Right." And black mothers always said, "Keep the family business inside the house." ShowOut said, "Kendra is aggressive."
You ain't wrong.
You need to dunk TraMel, Kendra. Do men feel emotionally safe with women?
The right woman.
Okay. Okay. So y'all, that's when y'all will open up and stuff like that, or it's a limited type of opening up.
I
With
mean, for
Josh.
me, I'm a frequency person, and I think the
Okay.
universe runs off of frequencies. I can go to a party and I know who I could talk about astral projection and ayahuasca to. It's a frequency. You know what I mean? And same thing goes with women. Women know who they can open up and be vulnerable to, because like, yo, like some call it leading with their heart, but like I think on a much deeper level, it's a frequency that people get locked into. Kind of same thing with that law of attraction. You attract the things you want. Conversationally, we can attract the frequencies that we're seeking if we're in tune to those sort of things. And not everybody's in tune. It takes a while sometimes to get to that point, but I truly feel like with the right woman, yeah.
So how does masculinity affect self-worth? Okay. So how does
Explain.
childhood, what'd you say?
Explain.
We're gonna move on. I don't really know how to put that in formulate it in so we're gonna move on. Vigilante, you a dictionary. How you go ahead and form that in a sentence for me? Because I really so how does childhood trauma show up in men?
I mean, I spoke about this earlier. Sometimes what we see and what we've witnessed and gone through as kids, we either carry those same beliefs and characteristics, or we go opposite of them. For some people who grew up with let's say, a father that drank all the time, you might be very susceptible to alcoholism, simply because that's what you saw and that's what you know growing up, or you might be completely against that. I think that the things that we've experienced in our life, they definitely play a role in where we are as adults. So yeah, the things that we see as kids, the things that have happened in our experiences are definitely going to play some role. Now, the key is, are you going to take the actions to break the bad things that have occurred, to break the trauma, and to consciously move away from that? And for many of us, and I'll say this, I'm a big proponent of therapy and counseling. It starts to unlock the pieces that we might be holding in on why we are the way that we are. But I think a lot of people who don't do that, they carry these things on without even realizing it. And that's part of why they end up in situations and making certain mistakes and doing certain things that create drama, create chaos, create dysfunction within their lives.
Okay. All right. So what's one thing men are tired of pretending about?
Being happy.
Being happy. Terry.
Expound, HeadKrack. I want to hear more. Expound.
Well, I think sometimes depending on how open you want to be about a situation, like if you show your hand, oh, I'm not happy. Well, let's talk about it. And sometimes you're not in the mood to talk about why you're unhappy, whether it be about a relationship, current situations, maybe at work or whatever the case may be. Sometimes you just gotta just keep a poker face and keep pushing through, because like some people solve their problems better by talking them out, throwing it out there into the universe, getting it off your chest. And some people bottle it all in. I've worked on myself to try to be a lot more communicative than I've been like, previously, because I was, man, like I was the type of bottled up to where like you needed a special type of like can opener to open. Like I was, you know what I'm saying? I just everything's fine. You know what I'm saying? Even when it wasn't. And and one of the most transformative things that happened to me when I went on my ayahuasca journey is it just taught me to be okay not being okay. And leaning on people. I think one of the hardest lessons I had to learn was to ask for help. Because one thing is a man, like one thing we don't typically do, be like, help me, like, and for a lot of us, that's like probably one of the harder lessons to learn. And now I'm okay because listen, like we could bum rush the doors a lot harder with 4 people than we can with just one, So like having help and asking for it, it's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
I agree with HeadKrack. I think one of the things I still battle with is the whole thing about being able to say I'm not okay. And so I think that's some things that a lot of men deal with is not being able to say that, not being able to communicate that, as well as having a fear of failure or being a failure. So a lot of times that will hinder you from opening up the way you need to open up to really get the treatment that you need or whatever that you need to try to move past that.
Okay.
No,
Mom
for me,
Buns. Oh, go ahead.
like I'm a member of a Greek letter organization. I'm a Q, and without getting too deep into the process, we learned like we ended up with there was 7 of us that ended. We're all going towards one goal. There was different things we had to do along the way. We had to lean on each other. We had to, even without somebody asking for help, we had to see that man needed help. And so like part of that process taught me, that's why like I'm kind of like the way I am. The stuff we learn online, when you're up against the trouble, meet it squarely face to face. It's not about not being afraid, it's about moving forward anyway. And I don't have a problem asking for help because I had to ask these men for help many nights as we going through this process. So I think if you've been going through things and you've kind of dealt with life by yourself, you may find it difficult to ask for help. You may find it difficult to acknowledge certain things about you. But when you go through things, and whether it's like playing football and you have 10 other people on the field with you that are in that fight to either stop the ball or get it down the field, when you're in situations like that, you understand you can't do everything. You understand you need help. And I don't see how it ends up being a problem being able to ask for it. I think the problem comes when you ask for somebody's help that can't help you, that twist the way you want to get the help around. So my feeling bad because I reflected on some time with some issues with me and my dad from childhood. Now it's how I feel makes you feel sad and you don't like that. So now it's my problem because my emotions made you feel bad. When you should be there for me and just like either listen or just do anything besides try to flip it around like I'm the issue.
Okay.
I want to touch on something TraMel just said there because I think this is important too. Is seeking the right help. When you have people who know what they're talking about, know what they're doing, and you're going to them for some solutions, then you have a much better chance of getting good insight that's going to actually help move you forward. I think a lot of times we go to the same people for everything, the people close in our circle. But look, if you don't know anything about how to deal with in a relationship, you never had a good relationship, I don't need to come to you when I'm having issues with my girl. And you don't have a track record that proves that you know what you're talking about. And I think a lot of times people just go to other people for help without understanding what is my expectation of what this person is going to give me as far as help. Thinking about the outcome of going to that person and if they can truly help you resolve the issue. And if they can't, you might be barking up the wrong tree. You might be going to the wrong person to try and put an expectation of getting something that they're incapable of providing.
So
Right.
if men, go ahead, Vigilante.
I was going to say, right. I think all of those were great points that everybody made thus far. And I think that we have to also understand that there is no such thing as having everything together. Life is ups and downs, and there's going to be certain times where you have a better grasp on certain things and a better grasp on other things. With every podcast that I go on and every movie that I do, I don't applaud people for being on the podcast and being on the movie. I applaud them for whatever they're going through behind the scenes, being able to push that to the back of your mind so that you can push through to do what God put you on this earth to do. And I think that men will have a better mental health grasp if we just understand, like, okay, even though I'm doing this right now and this other thing is not working, it's okay for me to take a deep breath and for me to take baby steps so that I can get everything rocking.
Okay. So do men fear commitment or they fear losing their freedom more?
It could be a mix of both. Go ahead, TraMel.
I was gonna say I personally don't have a problem with commitment. The question is the person that I'm committing to in this moment gonna be the same person down the road? Because a lot of people know how to play games. They'll give you everything you're looking for. They'll have the bandwidth while you're in the pursuit, but as soon as everything's locked in, now it's like, oh, I don't have to do this no more. And so, like, am I going to run into that, or are you going to still be the same person? So that ends up being more of the question than anything for me.
Anybody want to piggyback off of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think some people do, feel like, when you commit, you're going to miss out on something that you wouldn't have been privy to while you were running wild and free. But if you were happy running wild and free, you wouldn't be considering the commitment. You know what I mean? Apparently you wanted to come in from the outside to, be in the mix. So, I mean, to each his own. Everybody got their thing.
So why do men do all this chasing and all this going above and beyond, but when they get the woman, they don't do none of that what they initially started doing?
Yeah, I can't speak for all men for answering this question, but I can say that for a relationship and a commitment, that looks different for every man. When I actually met ShowOut, and I met his two girlfriends when he had it, and at the same time I had two girlfriends as well, and we were both in committed relationships with our two girlfriends. That's what being in a committed relationship looked like to us. So what you were just saying that Michael B is not going to be doing, that's what a committed relationship looks like to you. So if somebody were to ask all the different people in those intangibles what a committed relationship look like to everybody, is going to be a bunch of different answers. So when you say committed, it's kind of umbrella, and it's going to cause a lot of different opinions that go in with what a committed relationship looks like.
First of all, please keep my man name off of this podcast and this negative aspect that you just used to then. Don't do that. Tiran, he needs some coaching or something. You need to link up with him and coach him or something, because Michael B. Jordan ain't got nothing to do with this, because we already got to understand. Anyway, Kendra said, let me see, what do you think you would do? Oh, wait, what do you think you would miss out on? And then Russell said, what's the biggest turnoff for most men? This is y'all flow.
Well, I think we kind of answered the what's the turn off the most men
She probably missing,
earlier.
People be at work and they be trying to sneak and sacrifice for me. I love y'all for that.
I appreciate you. Got to rewind the live. For that one. And what was the other question?
Kendra said, what do you think you would miss out on?
I think that the scary thing, I think multiple dynamics. And once again, not speaking for everybody, but, just the space I was operating in at one point in time and things I heard my friends say. Growing up, I seen every example of what no one should get married, because most of the people I knew that were married were miserable. My parents were in a miserable marriage. Like friends who graduated with me from high school who got married were back outside in no time. Because, like whether it's a situation where you got into a relationship too early, or you had bad roadmaps of road models, of what makes a good relationship. So like watching all of this from the sidelines, it kind of I was very, intimidated, by the whole concept of marriage going into it. Then after a while, it was just like, this seems like the right thing to do. Because, my partner understood me. She, she had my back during times where I felt not supported by other people around me. So that made me lean into it. So and I'm taking a long-winded approach, and I apologize. I've been up all day. I think what people are afraid of is the other options that could potentially be out there. And then some people get into relationships and marriages, and they lose their identity of who they are, because you get absorbed into this new version of yourself who can't go hang out with your friends and go run the streets and shut the clubs down. And sometimes people still figure out how to juggle that duality, but it gets a little different. So I remember being mad at some of my friends who were booed up at a time, and I ain't even talking about married. They were just in a relationship where they just went with somebody else real hard. You know what I mean? It was we mean she don't want you to come out with us. You know what I mean? And you feel a certain way because that's your running partner. So experiencing all of those things did put a negative connotation, but then you mature and you look for different things.
Okay, let's go to the comment section. ShowOut said, don't want to do nothing but nag all day. Fire Slayer 62 said, biggest turn off, work husbands. And then Mayada, thank you, girl. She said she risking her life for me, child. And everybody else just being acclimated. So while we go towards the ending of the show, I do have a couple of more questions. If y'all have any questions before I let them go, I know everybody got to get ready for tomorrow, but if y'all have any questions, last minute questions, or whatever the case may be, please ask them in the comment section. Or if y'all want to come on live, y'all can do that too. Vigilante, I'm gonna ignore that Michael B. Jordan comment, because after that, don't talk to me. what did tonight's conversations make you reflect on? Because y'all had like 6 different, and well, 7 because he in the audience. But what did y'all take? What did y'all takeaways on this?
You know, for me, I think we do a lot of compartmentalizing things into male, female, him, her, like type of thing. When in reality, we really just need to judge everything on its own individual merit. You're not the last girl I dated, so I can't judge you by what she did. You don't like love the way she does. You don't express love the way she does. You don't. You may listen to me where she didn't. So I think the biggest takeaway for me is like it's all an individual thing, and you have to really be careful about compartmentalizing and kind of shifting everybody into a bucket and just look at that person as an individual and go from there.
Okay. Okay. Kendra said, honey, we might get cussed out for asking any more questions. Who making Kendra feel uncomfortable? Don't be doing that. I know it's Vigilante because he out here starting with Michael B. Jordan. Baby, we gonna send you a cease and desist later. But what part of being a
That's my
man hurts the
job.
most?
That's my job.
It's gonna be your job to find your lawyer when we send you that cease and desist. But what's the part of a man hurts the most? Being a man hurts the most.
I don't feel like nothing hurts. Like, pretty awesome. Like,
Okay.
yeah, like,
I guess
listen.
it's like hardship, like what the hardest thing of being a man. Because I feel like one thing we don't have enough of is male mentors. Because I have a son and he's now 18, so him having to go out into the world and try to navigate and find out how to be a man, or like that. Like, what's the hardest thing being a man that y'all could give as far as like advice?
Having to go investigate the noise.
Okay. Okay.
If
So
I had to
what?
say, I'll probably say that the hardest thing about being a man is probably once you reach that point in your life where you realize that unconditional love doesn't exist for you outside of maybe your parents and a few other your family members that love you, and that you have a burden of performance on you from the moment that you are born all the way up to the point that you are no longer here, and that if you do not create a legacy for yourself, that you will not be remembered, and your children will probably not mean anything to the rest of the world outside of your family.
Terry. Brother is kind of introvert, y'all, so that's why he been the cut.
I'm a little introverted, but I am on hour 26 right now too.
Mhm.
But no, I just took in what the fellas was saying about the mental health and actually looking for somebody that actually can help you as far as instead of just looking out for somebody who's willing to, just somebody who actually can help you.
Okay. All right. Anybody else want to piggyback off that before everybody go their separate ways? JMeel, you said JMeel. What about you?
I would say, I mean, as far as what I took from this podcast, I would say again, it reminded me I do need to be okay with saying I'm not okay sometimes, and so I think that brought that back to me, and I'm like, you know what, I need to look into getting some type of therapy sometimes when I feel overwhelmed, because I think one of the things, the hardest thing for a man, like you were asking, sometimes is having the weight of the world on your shoulders. Sometimes I think on a lot of things, you don't feel like you can have someone to help you out because you feel like asking for help could be a sign of weakness or whatever. So I think that's something that I need to work on, but it's something I also pulled away from this podcast. So yeah.
Okay. Vigilante, did you say yours already?
As far as what I took from this,
Yeah.
oh yeah. What I took from it is that we have a great group of men on the panel. I appreciate everybody for showing up. If anybody needs anything from me, feel free to reach out. I am connecting the diaspora across all 7 continents, and I'm gonna need all of y'all help to make it work. And I have no problem saying that out loud. And anything that y'all got going on, please let me know. I would love to be involved. I appreciate you, Yama. Thank you.
You're welcome. Danica said, yes, it's okay to say I'm not okay. Men and women have to get used to asking for help. I agree. Me as a podcaster and Yama Jordan, Mr. Michael A. Jordan, but I really thank y'all so much for being a part of my show. It's still growing. So I'm still getting the hiccups off of it, but the more I grow, the more I learn, the more, I'm able to learn more about myself, not only, those that come on the show. And one thing I want everybody to know from me is every woman don't want a man's money. They just want to be shown appreciation. I've been in situations where I've been that person to hold a man down and I never got appreciated. No thank you, no nothing or whatever. And so like I told and I'm gonna let y'all go, like I told a guy before like years ago that I was dating, I told him, like, I don't care how busy you are. I care about time. I care about the experience. I value the experience because that's something that you can't buy, you can't get back as far as time. So like if you have a busy day, and I know you got a busy day, the fact that you go to Kroger, I'm not a flower girl, but if you go to Kroger and you go get some $6 flowers, the fact that you took out your busy schedule for me to go get those flowers and then bring them to me and say, hey, Yama, I got this out of my busy day, I'm gonna appreciate the time because that's something that you can't get back opposed to the money, which you can always replace. But men don't understand. A woman just want to be, well, me, I'm speaking of myself, just want to feel appreciated. It don't take much. Not all women is looking for your money. Not all women is like out to get you. Not all women is gonna like, you weaponize whatever you open up to us about. That's not me anyway. I can't speak for nobody else, but I really truly value the panel of men that took out y'all time for me and my guests. I know it's not this big, massive podcast, but the fact that y'all donated time to me, I am so blessed to have y'all. I'm so thankful, and I can't wait till y'all see my growth. And I really, truly appreciate each and every one of y'all for the gems that y'all dropped in the time that y'all gave. So thank you so much for kicking it with Yama. Thank you so much for the time that you donated. It has not been in vain. You have been an added value to the show, and I can't wait till God continue to bless it. So thank you guys. I'm sending blessings, love, success to each and every last of you. And I wish y'all, the best. Thank you so much for being a great panel tonight. Thank y'all in the audience. I really, truly appreciate y'all because without y'all, without the guests, without the audience, without God, thank you, Jesus, without him, there would be no Kicking It with Yama. So thank y'all and have a good night. That's the show, y'all.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, y'all.
Merry Christmas. Thank y'all for kicking it with Yama. Thank y'all so much. Bye-bye.
Bye, Kendra.
Bye, y'all. Bye, JMeel.
I'm trying to get off of here. How you get off of here? Oh, there we go.
All right, y'all. That was Kicking It with Yama. Thank y'all so much for kicking it with your girl. Happy holidays to everybody. I learned a lot about men, and they kind of got a little disrespectful with my boyfriend, Michael B. Jordan, but we gonna worry about it. I just edited that part out. But thank y'all so much. Thank y'all. Without y'all, I am nothing. Without the guests that come on, I am nothing. And not without Jesus Christ, I'm nothing. So I thank y'all so much for being here, supporting me as it grow. I'm looking at the growth with the numbers and the, just the overall love that I'm being shown. Thank you so much for going with me and growing with me on this journey. I can't wait till we all get big, because when I'm big, y'all big, because I know who rocked with me since day one with this podcast. So thank you so much. I love y'all, and good night. Happy holidays, and see y'all on the next podcast. Bye.